Okay, good morning. We're up to Shin Yud Tes If Yud Beis, working through Hilchos Beira. Says the Mechaber, Kol Malkum Shemutzah L'San and Yain Besuda. Yesterday we spoke about straining liquids and fruit juice and all that sort of stuff. Now, and Mechaber said previously that you're allowed to strain wine using a suda, using a material over the top of a bowl or something. Mutzah L'San and Bekfifa Mitzris, with an Egyptian basket, Pirush Kupa. Min haguma, mimine arova, a basket made out of types of reeds. You got to be careful not to raise this basket, which you're using to strain the wine, mishum shinra, because it's like an uvda duchal. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Mem Zayin, Kol Mokum Bala Rabbis, the day of Rishona, Dafilu Yain, Sheo Ocha Ktsas, the Osa L'San and Mashameres. Wine, which is a little bit cloudy, and therefore you can't use a mishameres to sieve, to strain it. Nevertheless, you're allowed to use this kfifa mitzris, this Egyptian basket. You don't really use it during the week. And so to water, because it's not a proper straining keli. The kfifa mitzris, for Eisa kli also kanofa, and that kli which is made like a proper sieve, shemesanin ba, dinner mishameres hoel meyuchad lekach, that has got the same din as a mishameres, which is meyuchad lekach, ve'ein lesanin ba elayayin solel l'mayim sulim, and that you can only strain wine or water which is clear. V'chanal b'reish sifi yud, like we spoke about yesterday. Mishum shinu shelo yeh k'uvdin dechol. Well, if he's a mayim v'yayin strunin degam mishmeres muta, and therefore wine and water which is clear, even the mishameres would be allowed. Therefore you could raise this basket more than a tefach. Interestingly, the reason why you can't raise this basket more than a tefach is not because of uvda dechol, but mishum chashash oihel. The problem is you're creating an oihel. And therefore it doesn't make a difference whether the wine and water is slulim. It's still going to be a problem because you're making an oihel. It's only shaykh oihel. It's only a problem of oil if you're covering the entire bottom part. But if you're holding it over a kli with one hand, not over the entire bottom part, the bowl or whatever, and then you're pouring with the second hand, that would be allowed. This is also probably called the shinui of a pratim or etzol, and certainly if it was solol, according to that opinion, and therefore you have to come on to this reason. Okay, good. All right. Yud Gimel. Kli shema'orin. So you've got a kli where you're pouring pirush shemerik, and you're emptying out boyayin me'achovis lo yitzin befiv kashin v'ksomin. So you're emptying out wine from a kli. Don't put kashin and ksomin, straw and wood, bechazaka, sort of stuff it into the top of that. Because effectively you're making a sieve. If you're pouring out wine from a kli, and in the sort of the opening of that kli you're putting straw and wood, then essentially you're making a sieve. So you can't do that. Says the Mishnah Berurah Nun, Sifkot and Nun, Lo Yitain, not Salome, Dafilim Erev Shabbos, Kadei L'San and Derech Boy B'Shabbos. Even if you put the stuff there, the straw and the wood, you put there Erev Shabbos to pour it on Shabbos, you can't do that. So Mari Shulchan Aruch B'Yayin Ochur Ktsas. We're talking about where the wine is a little bit cloudy. To Imhu Yayin Solul, because if the wine is clear and you're just trying to strain it to remove bits of wood, we said previously that even a mishameres is muta. That was our orange juice tropicana situation. That if you've got, you could drink it beforehand and you're just straining it to get a slightly heightened purity of water from the faucet or that we said is okay, and as long as you're not finicky. It's cloudy. It's
by doing this, he's taking away the
it becomes solid. You're changing it from ochur to solid.
The wood and the straw is not clean.
Yeah, but you've created a sort of somewhat of a sieve. That's what he's going to say now. B'chazaka, the derech hu litchev piv. The derech was you would stuff the opening b'chayzek with force, kadeshi agva ksomim v'atinofes milavar, which prevents the ksomim and the woods and the tinofes, the residue, the bits of rubbish from passing through. V'alkeinu ke'ein meshameres, and therefore is serving as some sort of sieve. That's the point. She'ein lecha. So it says because you have ein lecha misanenes gedoyle mizu. Says Mishabura nun base. The Gemara is the Mexican Meshameres. It's interesting. The Mechaber says ein lecha misanenes gedoyle mizu. It's it's definitely. But the Gemara says Mexican Meshameres. Well, Pirish Haran the lav Meshameres mamishi. It's not a proper sieve. Shari over in Boshmar, because at the end of the day bits do get through. Elakivan de isa ksomim v'tanovis to loyavribu, but since the larger pieces of dirt and of wood do not pass through, domi lemeshameres. It's functioning somewhat as a sieve. Ad kan l'sheinu mashikos v'shulchan aruch she'in lecha, which is like a definitely a sieve. Hainu in the markev hatev al kol ponim aksom v'tanovis milavar. What he means is that it's effective to stop the ksomim and the tinofis from passing through. Okay, good. Yud Dalet. Mutala aros benachas mikli lechavera. You're allowed to pour from one kli into another kli. Ubelvat sheyizoy k'sheyifsek hakiluach umaschinen lered nitzoitzes katanas hanashofes ba'achrona. But you got to just be careful. Imagine it's quite a motzu shaila this. When you're pouring and you've got a mixture and you want to just let's say pour the liquid part of it, and you've got the residue and the tzeitzes and the stuff at the bottom. You got a beira problem. If you're clearing all the liquid and you're keeping the psolis behind, then you got an issue. So it's got to be miyad and biyad and all the rest of it. But what he's saying over here is that if you just leave a bit of the liquid behind, then you're not doing a ma'aser beira, right? So let's take a look. So mutzah la'aros benachas mikli lechaver. If you're allowed to pour gently from one kli to another, or bevad sheyizoy k'sheyifsek hakiluach. That when the kiluach, what's the kiluach, the jet of water, when it finishes, and you've got the bits of residue that are now sort of flowing out, you leave them behind, but otherwise you're doing a ma'aser beira. Okay, let's do the Mishnah on that. Tipos katanas, there's little drops. That sort of there, that splatter when you finish the flow of water. You're doing a ma'aser beira because you're trying to keep them behind in the base and the bottom of the kli. But the initial pouring, nikar, when the psolis is not nikar and you're just clearing the liquid at the top, lav beiru, that's not a ma'aser beira. Shel beira. That means you want to have it for afterwards. Then there's no problem. If it's ma'aser beira, then if you're doing eichem b'teich psoles and it's miyad and it's biyad, then you haven't got a problem. Here, even though you're pouring from one kli to another, you're doing it, you're pouring it, so therefore there is a ma'aser beira potentially. But if you put some wood on the opening of the kli, that it's strained well, also, even la'alta is going to be a problem. If it's not mafsik the nitzosis from going down, to choshiv kabara al kli, because you're using effectively a kli to strain this liquid. For also lishbech hashumim min harotev, continues the Mishnah Berurah, you're not allowed to pour shuman min harotev. If you want to get rid of the fat, the oil that is on top of the rotev, you can't just do that. Even if you do it, you don't do it with a kli, but you just pour it. You don't do it with a spoon, but you just pour it away. But that's a problem. To have a kabera biyad v'lo b'kli, you're essentially doing it biyad v'lo b'kli. Mikol makom is also still going to be a problem. To have shuman mikri psolis. What are you doing? You're getting rid of the shuman, which is the psolis, the unwanted part. Legabe harotev, which is the oichel, that's the good part. Imein harotev lechel hashuman la'alta, or psolis mitoch oichel also. So you can tick the biyad box, that's fine, and the biyad box But if it's psoilis mitzayich eichel, you slipped up on the first one. Like we said in the beginning. But if you pour a little bit of it together, the shuman with the rotev, then you're okay. Now that is a very important point. Let's take a look at footnote 54. Actually, no. Let's do 53 first. This is also quite. 53 talks about a case where you've got a yogurt, and you open up the little pot of yogurt, and you've seen it. You've got a little bit of sometimes water, especially the Lebanon and the plain yogurts. You've got a little bit of water residue at the top. So are you allowed on Shabbos to pour away the water and to have the yogurt? Is it a shaila of boire? So that's what he's dealing with in 53. This is really what this Mishnah Berurah is dealing with. V'chein gevia levan v'chadayma shehitztarvru b'mayim al gabi halevan. Sometimes you get a bit of water on top of the yogurt. Das hagonim Rabbi Yashuv she'asa lishbeichis hamayim elim kein yishbeich ma'at leban im hamayim. You've got a problem because you've got eichel and you've got psolis. You want the leban, you don't want the water. So if you just pour away the water, you've taken away the psolis. True, I want to eat it now, and I'm doing it biyad, but still, it falls foul of the eichel mitech psolis rule. V'das hagonim listen karelitz she'im hamayim unochim al haleben ve'einu muravin bay mutzah lishbeichis hamayim, because it's not mixed up, and therefore it's not considered really a mixture. It's not you haven't got it all mixed up together and you're separating mixtures. You just got something on top which you're just removing. It's not really mixed in. So that's the machlokes of Rabbi Yashiv in this Karelitz, whether you can do this or not. Me'idach, he says, Hashvisas Shabbos, Kasav Shem Mutala Hafrid Mayim 11, Afidim Mayim Uravim Bay, even if it's all mixed up. The time is Shahel V'yesh Anoshim She'ichnis Haleban Mayim for a different reason. There are some people who just drink the water and eat it, and if they mix it up together, they're not bothered about it. It's all just one yogurt. That's just some parts are less watery.
It depends on the person itself.
True. Yeah, so it depends. So if you're the type of guy who eats the bit of the water, you just mix it up and you don't care about it, and it's not a shaila. Yeah. So in short, when it comes to the leban and the yogurt, Rabbi Yashiv says you shouldn't pour away the water. Rabbi Nissan Kara says you can. Okay, machlokes zapaiskim. And there are those who say that it's if you drink the water anyway, then there's no problem. Okay, and then what about this is the classic case of a fly in your drink? Again, how do you deal with that? So according to what we've said, we've got an answer. If you take a look at 54, v'chein kosav lahalon b'shem ataz legabe zvuv shenofa l'maychel. If a fly falls into your food or mashke your drink, sham mevur she'osu lahitzias hazvuv me'oichel l'mashke she'mut lahitzias hazvuv yachad im ksas me'amaychel. The way round it is, you take a spoon, or you just spill it out, and you take a bit of the liquid with the fly. V'chein kosav la'alon legabe shumen hatzof al hacholov. You got a bit of fat or cream or whatever on top of milk. If you take a bit of the liquid with the fly, or you take a little bit of the cholov with the shuman, then you're going to be okay. Seder. Okay, let's go weiter. We've got to just finish off the Ramah at the end. Says the Ramah, Mutzer lahagbiya hachoves al eze dava kadesh yikalech mimenu hayayin heitev. You want to raise the chovis so that you can pour it better. That's allowed. Says the Mishnah Berurah Nunvav kadesh yikalech va'af al pi shal yidei zeh yerid yayin gam mitoich hashmarim ein choshev kubeirek kol zman she'ein hanitzoitzis maschilin leirid in mashmarim commission is spice. As long as you're separating just the liquid part, you're going to be okay. All right, let's just do one more. Tezvov, mesanenes, some sort of sieve. Shenosen bochardal lesanenai. So you pour mustard to sieve it. That's just how you make mustard, apparently. Mutter litzin bo beitza. You're allowed to put a raw egg on top of it. Avapisha chelmen yorid lemata. Even though the yolk will go through and will sort of will descend down to the bottom to the mustard. Lemata imachardal v'achelboim, which is the white parts. What's the English word for it? The chelboim, the white parts of the raw egg. What? The white of the egg, yeah. Nisha lemala, that's okay. So again, you've got some sort of sieving process where you've got the mustard, which is collecting at the bottom, and you want to put a raw egg at the top, where the yolk goes down and the white stays at the top. That's allowed. So says the Mishnah Berurah Nun Zayin, Shenosen Bo Hainu Me Erev Shabbos. You set up this system on Erev Shabbos. The Shabbos also the San in Chardal Ademis. On Shabbos you can't do it, of course. Mishum da Psoiles Shabbachadal Nishla Mala, because the Psoiles of the Chardal of the mustard will sit at the top. And you got a, it looks like boira there. Simon Tov Kuv Seif Gimel. Afilu B'Yontav also livro. Nishar Lemaila. And you're allowed to take a raw egg and crack it on top of it, and the yolk goes down and the white stays at the top. And it's not there for achila. The purpose of doing this is not for culinary experience or anything like that. It's rather just to color the mustard, to make it that yellowy appearance. But if you're doing it in order to eat the chelmein, the yolk, then osa the shmein in the ochlin mikra, because it's two types of it's eichel, it's got a din of two types of food. V'shayach hazeh shem breira. V'yesh mekinim b'zeh. There are those who are mekel. V'nochen lahachmir. V'alkein yesh lizoyim melivra hachelmein min hachelmein. You got to be careful from separating the yolk from the white. Al yedei ezer kli. Coffee. I don't know if people do this. Anyone puts a raw egg in coffee? I think there is such a thing. No, it's quite a delicacy. I don't know. As they say, it's not my cup of tea. People do that instead of milk or cream. And so long as the drink is not too hot, and therefore you haven't got any bishul problems. Remember, eggs are kalei bishul, if I'm not mistaken. You got a problem here of beira. You're allowed to take out the chelmein. So if you're doing the three rules of beira of you want the yolk, and it's biyad and it's miyad, then that would be okay. Vuadin demuta alidei iru miklipa leklipa. When you're pouring it from one shell to another, dezeh gamkein mikri kabeira biyadei v'chanal b'sif cotton and hay. That would be considered beira biyadei, because again, biyadei doesn't only mean hand; it means an extension of your hand. And if I'm using the clipper, the shell of the egg, then or a spoon or a fork, that's considered an extension of your hand, and that would be okay. Okay, so the key point to take home from today is that when you, I think the yogurt and the fly thing, if you got a fly in your spoon, on your soup or on your drink, just literally to take the fly away is a problem of the psoilis mitzvah eichel, and therefore the way to get around it is to take a bit of the eichel with it, and therefore it's not a ma'aser breira. It's not a ma'aser of doing breira because you're taking a bit of the eichel with it, and therefore it's okay. And so too with the yogurts, there are machlekes over there, but that's part of the issue. Seder.